Good evening, class. This is Jeremy Lee here. Happy to speak on EDL 558, Social Justice and Higher Education. So many 550s. And this week we're talking about Module 2, which is Power, Privilege, and Marginalization. Topics are very well associated with one another. I really enjoyed the readings. I also really enjoyed the prompt we received from Dr. Vita. Thanks for the prompt. So without further ado, here are my thoughts. Privilege, especially when it comes to discussing white privilege, is very interesting at this time because we've had so many issues recently to affect communities of different races, different cultures that I have to call to question the idea of white privilege. Um, and I think it's been even more interesting, I guess, on a personal level for me because now attending a university is not like my undergrad institution. I've had to embrace and challenge white privilege frequently and discuss it with my peers. And so it's just very interesting this topic comes up in social justice as it should. So that was interesting. I personally enjoyed the reading. I'm going to be clicking over as I talk to you. I enjoyed the reading Racism in the Law, No Struggle, No Progress. I think kindergarten did a very great job of defining what white privilege was. I liked the little piece that they wrote about why they started the actual page, whiteprivilege.com. I think discussing the fact that you have to be careful on how you define white privilege was very seriously because I've seen some situations where I've tried to define white privilege or discuss white privilege and people have said, well, that's not exactly a privilege or you're actually wrong in your thinking. And people come off naturally radicalized about the discussion already because I realize no one really wants to feel as if they're more privileged than someone else. If it's nice to say we have more than someone else, we'll never want to say that we are more privileged. And so that was very interesting, the way he put it. I like the 4 bullet points he made, which I reviewed them for you all. Cleared a lot of readings. Firstly, the white privilege should be defined carefully because it is contested. And second, the contestation itself is radicalized, saying that already you're going to be coming off of a point to try and prove someone else wrong. Three, that's what you should expect. You should expect someone to do that. Actually, to me, if I feel like someone let me define white privilege and said, okay, well then my point's actually correct because you're just basically signing into what I just said. And four, socially invisible structures can become more effective in enduring their visible ones. Sorry, I didn't write that correctly. Let me actually look at the actual correct way of saying it. Excuse me for a second. Socially visible structures of oppression are more effective and enduring than socially visible ones. So I really enjoyed that little piece of the actual article. It was very inspiring to me to kind of read that. And so that was interesting. But like I said earlier, I think we've had to kind of embrace white privilege even more recently. I know a recent discussion I had with students were discussing the idea of Michael Brown. And we're discussing how um, the Michael Brown verdict came out, obviously the cop was found not guilty. He was not actually not even not guilty. He wasn't going to get a day in court because of the killing of Michael Brown. And so it brought up the discussion of white privilege and the fact that how if this was an African American cop, it'd be a different story. If Michael Brown was white, it'd be a different story. Things like that were discussed. And so privilege was kind of discussed. And so I talked to my classmates and talked to some other students around campus, and they all kind of had the idea of feeling that privilege doesn't really exist. They felt like it could be anybody in that case, that we live in a post-racial society. And so it brought up the idea of, while although it may sound nice that MLK had a dream, or it may sound nice that we think we're all living in a kumbaya nice land, there's those a systemic marginalization, systemic privilege that's happening that people don't even get to realize. There are already kind of rules and doctrines set in place for it before you even know it, you've already been marginalized and didn't even realize it. It keeps the middle class the middle class. It keeps certain races down from other races, certain other identities down as well. So it was a very interesting thing to kind of discuss about. So this reading definitely took me back to thinking about systemic marginalization and seeing how it really can really shape this country in the way it is. So if I had to create a campaign for UNCW on white privilege, first of all, it would be a very hard task to do. But if it did, I would focus on using like some kind of like eye-catching poster. My poster would be something like, like privilege or white privilege or something like that to really catch your eye and make you look and make you interested. We'll start to drum up some conversation on campus. My social media posts might be more videos or like very quick, like little snippets of things about the topic that will really not focus so much on being as radical in thought. It'd be something to continue to keep you engaged and interested in coming. And if I had to do a program in Res Life or like Real Life or something, I would actually encourage students to kind of shadow or work with other groups that are not like them. Similar to what we're doing in this class. Like I know if I had something for fraternity story of life, I'm good at that. That's what I do a lot of. I would have the like IFC fraternities or the Panhandle sororities shadow more the NPC or the multicultural fraternities and sororities, and that way they can kind of see what they go through, what they're doing with things like that, or take part in their social activities as well, so we can kind of get an understanding more across the board of what's going on there. So that's how I would handle a program personally here at USCW. I think I would initially make it eye-catching, but my goal would not be to really be so radical that it turns people off. My initial goal is just to catch your eye, to get your attention, and then to get you to think about things I'm discussing. And so that's how I would personally do it. As for my social justice discussion, I am officially going to be doing African American homosexual males. It's a very challenging area because there are not that many African American students here, there are not that many male students here, and there's not many homosexual students here too. So the three together, I'm working with a very small population. I spoke with the director for the LGBTQIA office here, and she was very helpful with me, helping me find students. The only concern is that the one student she suggested to me, I'm not exactly sure how he identifies yet, so I'm a little fearful on approaching him. But other than that, though, I really am looking forward to the topic. I got informed of some very nice things that are happening over there in that office. I would encourage you to look at their calendar as well and go and see some things. So I'm really excited to see how this is going to go. Actually, it's kind of funny because they're showing Dear White People that soon, it's sometime in February, and so it's interesting the way it's just getting privileged now because that's going to be showing soon. So looking forward to working with them, looking forward to a really great semester. So thanks, guys. You all take care. Bye.